As a critic with integrity, it's important for me to not shy away from unpopular opinions. Long ago, I watched the original Terminator, and I did not like it, which was disappointing because I kept hearing people say that they loved the original 2 so much, and how the later sequels ruined the franchise, which was supposed to be great to begin with. Out of the films that James Cameron has directed, I have seen Terminator, Terminator 2, Titanic, Avatar, and Avatar: The Way of Water, and after watching those films, I am convinced that James Cameron should not be writing his own movies. He might be good for some visual style or action scenes, but someone else needs to be in charge of the dialogue and what the characters do in general. My biggest issue that we'll get into is Kyle Reese. I feel very strongly that he sets a bad example of how to get a girlfriend, and I think the film is very wrong to validate someone who's acting the way he's acting. Imagine if, in real life, someone forces a girl into his car, tells her a story about robots wiping out humanity in the future he's supposedly from. The police tell her that he's crazy, and he insists that the only way for her to survive is by staying with him. For the record, I'm not trying to insult anyone who does like the Terminator films. I'm coming at it with the perspective of, if this were to happen in real life, Kyle Reese would be the bad guy. But some people just want a story about a death robot chasing after people. Los Angeles, 2029 AD. Only 5 years away. Now this is the movie I would much rather watch. The machines rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate mankind had raged for decades. But the final battle would not be fought in the future, it would be fought here in our presence tonight. But I don't want tonight, I want the future. I get that they had budget restraints for this first movie, and they probably couldn't afford to have it all take place in the future, but why you gotta show me this if I can't have it? Since I haven't said it yet, this video is a sort of a remake of a video I did a while ago. That video was suboptimal, with me mumbling everything for some reason. As a matter of fact, I kinda sounded like that guy. So I unlisted that video and put it in a playlist called "These Videos Are Bad," so I unlisted them. Behold the real hero of this story. He has come to wipe out this universe's foul version of humanity.
What's wrong with this picture?
Nothing's wrong, it looks fine to me.
Fuck you, asshole!
Oh, my weakness, it's small knives. Their clothes wouldn't fit him though, he's a lot larger than they are. I kinda sound like that guy too when I made the original version of this video. Now there is something wrong with this picture. Behold the real villain of this story. First thing he does is rob a homeless person. The second thing he does is run from the police. The third thing he does is threaten to kill a police officer.
He's got my gun, let's go!
He's got my gun, let's go the other way. I don't want to go towards the guy who has my gun. The fourth thing he does is steal more clothes. The fifth thing he does is steal another gun from a police officer. If he was smart, he could have just let the police find him and say, "The wacky people took my clothes, you gotta help me. They're after someone else named Sarah Connor, can you help her too and also tell me where she is? Because I'm very worried about my friend Sarah Connor.
Guard it for me, big buns."
If anyone tries to steal your motorcycle, I'll hit them with my big buns. And also I'll throw my hamburgers at them.
Honey, can I have that coffee now, please?
Yes, sir.
Now has passed and I still don't have
Who gets
coffee.
the burly?
You said yes sir, and yet I still don't have coffee in the now.
Phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
Hey, just what you see, pal.
He didn't even... He says, I want a plasma rifle. He didn't say that doesn't exist, sir.
Can't do that.
Wrong.
And of course, the police did not show up to investigate the gunshots because this movie has a vendetta against the police. He destroyed a child's toy that makes him so much worse than the guy who threatened to shoot a police officer. You can clearly see that this is the villain of this story.
Sarah Connor.
Yes.
What I meant was, yes, Sarah Connor has already left. And yes, Sarah Connor has moved to the other side of the planet.
Once again, Sarah Connor brutally shot to death in her home this afternoon.
You're dead, honey.
Sarah Connor is dead. Well, I guess that's the end of the movie. I give it one. This guy steals a car, but at least he's doing it so he can find the girl he's stalking and tell her about the robots from the future. Because that's what sane people do. You keep missing him, aim a little lower. Not that one. No! I understand that he shot the wrong target, but that was clearly an accident. All he wanted to do was kill Kyle Reese. Was that so wrong? Avenge him! Avenge your fallen brother! I was about to say you didn't need to kill the gunner too, but, well, you know, this universe's version of humanity is kind of all bad, so I think I was wrong to criticize the first guy for destroying the other human.
Hello?
First, I'm gonna rip the buttons off your blouse one by one, and then run my tongue down.
Ginger, it's Matt.
Now, of course, she's just gonna let him continue to talk dirty to her. Should her friend be worried about her?
Hello?
First, I'm gonna rip the buttons off your blouse one by one.
He's been practicing that message for hours, and he's going to say it no matter how embarrassing the first attempt was.
Sarah Louise Connor. You're kidding me.
You're kidding me. A serial killer has a pattern? As a police chief, I have never heard of such a thing.
Hi, Sarah. This is your mom.
There you are, young man. You mind your mother.
Is it supposed to be ironic that she's scolding the iguana for not minding its mother while she's ignoring the message from her mother?
Really sorry. I'll make it up to you. Call you in a day or so, okay? Sorry. Bye.
Well, he might not be an ideal boyfriend, but you could break up with him before you start making out with someone else. Unlike what actually happens. First, she lets him talk dirty to her on the phone for a while, and then he gives her a kiss on the head. Does her friend have some competition? Or is that normal for people in the 80s? I mean, I wasn't alive during the 80s, and I don't think that's why I don't like the Terminator. I don't think it's a generational thing, because I like other films from the 80s like RoboCop, Total Recall, Rambo, Back to the Future. So it's not the entirety of the 80s that's not doing it for me.
How do I look?
Like shit, boss.
Yo, mama.
No! You don't just say, yo mama. You have to follow it up with something like this. Yo mama is so dumb she watches James Cameron films for the dialogue. Now, this is, of course, the proper way to get a girlfriend. You get your trench coat and walk about 20 feet behind her.
Police Department emergency number. All our lines are busy. If you need a police car sent out to you, please stay on the line.
They don't have enough people to respond to her life-threatening emergency. This is what happens when you defund the police. Sarah Connor? Yes, I know Sarah Connor.
Whoa!
Why you gotta kill... Does he honestly think that the boyfriend is Sarah Connor? He went straight for the boyfriend first.
Ginger, this is Sarah. Pick up if you're there. I'm at this place on Pico Boulevard.
This wouldn't have happened if the police had enough people and resources to respond to her call in the first place. The Terminator would have just thought that he's killed every Sarah Connor, and everything would have been fine.
Are you alright?
Yeah, but I don't want to leave. I think there's a guy following me.
The guy's been following you around, and he's been wearing a trench coat that might have a shotgun underneath it. I don't know, it's not suspicious enough. I mean, maybe if he ran over a toy truck, we could think about him being evil. Again, if this was to happen in real life, you have one guy who's following behind her and pretending not to follow her, and then you have this other guy who just goes straight for her. I mean, who would you trust more in real life? The guy who's stalking you and pretending not to, or the guy who just goes straight for your phone number? Screw the alcohol, don't drink and drive. They're heading everything and everyone except for the important people.
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you want to live. If you come before or after me, you will not live. What kind of exercise routine has she been on to be able to outrun a robot? First, I'm gonna rip this shirt off of you. And then... That poor police officer, all he did was report the guy who was running red lights and driving like a maniac. I changed my mind. He is not the hero of the story.
Do exactly what I say. Don't move unless I say. Don't make a sound unless I say. Do you understand?
This is much scarier than the threat of a robot. I mean, unlike time-traveling robots, we know for a fact that people like him exist.
Oh, Jackals! I knew it! How simply terrifying! Ma'am, if you'll let me explain, Oh, pepper spray!
Pepper spray? That sounds delicious! Ah, I was wrong! I was horribly
Pain! You've been targeted for termination.
And you can totally trust me and absolutely nobody else. Trust me on that. Also, drink this Kool-Aid, never mind the fizzy stuff inside of it.
Terminator, Cyberdyne Systems Model 101.
Because the exact model is so important for her to know. She clearly knows how different the situation would be if it were some other type of model. These words don't mean anything to her.
Like a robot?
Not a robot, cyborg.
No, he was bleeding.
Do you not know what cyborg means? It makes perfect sense for a cyborg to bleed.
Get your head down!
What? Where was that head going?
Get your head down!
There's people after us, trust me! Put your head down here, it's the only way to survive.
Look, Reese, I don't know what you want.
Pay attention!
I was up late last night making up all this lore and you're gonna listen to it.
Then you're from the future too, is that right?
Well, that was the appropriate response.
Just let me go.
Listen!
I won't let you go because I'm the good guy. I will say that I like how the Terminator gets more and more damage and looks less and less human. You see what great things can happen when James Cameron is directing but not writing. And you can totally trust the guy who knows how to hotwire a car.
Did you see this war?
Did you see this war? She asks. Of course he didn't. This universe is all about tell, don't show.
Most of us were rounded up, put in camps for orderly disposal.
They put the humans in vaults and tried to teach them the golden rule. But of course it didn't work on Kyle. They switched cars specifically to get rid of the battle damage, and then they immediately get more battle damage. Don't kill the cops, you idiot. Why did he run off? What? He's bulletproof. They got out of the car, the Terminator would have had a clear shot at them.
Is Reese crazy?
Yes.
That's what we're gonna find out.
I have found out for you, he is crazy. I mean, in canon, he's validated, he's right when he says that the robot's from the future, but he's still crazy. He's been threatening cops, he's been following Sarah in the most suspicious way possible. He's a complete idiot when it comes to trying to get people to believe him.
From 21 to 27.
That's the year 2027.
Did no one coach him on what people are gonna believe in the 20th century?
Cyborg, if it's metal...
Surrounded by living tissue.
This is great stuff. I could make a career out of this guy. You see how clever this part is? How it doesn't require a shred of proof?
First of all, I'll have to see your credentials. Listen, tell me something, Professor. Have you had any experience?
And most paranoid delusions are intricate, but this is brilliant.
Yeah, James Cameron would write someone saying that his plot is brilliant, wouldn't he?
Who is in authority here? Shut up! You can't stop him! He'll wade through you, reach down her throat, and pull her fucking heart out!
That's how crazy people sound. But the film wants you to believe that this is the guy that you should be validating.
Well, it may not look it, but that couch is very comfortable.
Told her the couch is comfortable after she
Perfectly
sat
safe.
down on it. Right now, your bones might think that this couch looks uncomfortable, but your bones are wrong. It's very comfortable.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor.
Yeah, see, this guy knows how to be non-suspicious. I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. Was that so hard for someone to say? I get that honesty is the best policy, but Kyle is just dumb to think that people will believe his story. Well, you see, friends, the Terminator couldn't shoot Kyle or Sarah while they were out in the open and there was just a handful of police officers there. He had to wait until they were protected so he could attack the entire police station and fight them all at once. That was clearly the tactical decision. These poor police officers. Why does this film hate police officers so much? They're not even corrupt police officers. They haven't done anything wrong this entire time. In the second film, they even have the bad guy dressed as a police officer for most of the movie. They think that the reason he was able to take so many bullets was because he had a bulletproof vest. So why aren't they aiming for the head? I guess they think there's no point in aiming for the head because he's on so much PCP.
What about when he punched through the windshield?
He was probably on PCP.
Or can these police officers not aim?
The hour, the largest single loss.
Maybe he is from the future. Maybe he's from a time when gasoline's so expensive that he'd rather steal another car than get more gas.
Tell me about my son.
You trust him?
He's very trustworthy, a lot like me, who you can totally trust.
Oh, this is gonna make me puke. I mean, am I tough? Organized? I can't even balance my checkbook.
I know that Sarah's not the leader of the rebellion, she's the mother of the leader of the rebellion, but she doesn't even seem like the mother of the leader of the rebellion. She has no combat ability whatsoever, she knows nothing about guns, presumably, and she freaks out over everything. In Terminator 2, she acts all hardened and everything, but she acts so differently in Terminator 2 without there being much of a transition at all that we actually see, that she seems like a completely different character in Terminator 2. And I get the message of anyone can become legendary and don't sell yourself short just because you have humble beginnings. You can't do that much character development with one of the main characters off screen. I mean, I can handle her having new skills learned between movies, but for her personality to be so different, you need to see more of the transition.
I'd die for John Connor.
Preferably sooner rather than later.
Don't suppose you know who the father is?
I know he dies before the war.
Wait.
He says, "I'd die for John Connor," and then he says that the father died. You really need to think about it before it sinks in.
I didn't ask for this honor, and I don't want it. Any of it.
I hate protagonists that don't want to do the plot. Pro tips, never, ever, 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 ever have your protagonist say, "I'm not a hero." When you have a protagonist that doesn't want to do the plot, and an audience that wants the plot, the hero's personality becomes a conflict of interest.
They're not too bright. John taught us ways to dust them. It's when the infiltrators started to appear.
We now present 4 hours of Kyle Reese expositioning about the apocalypse for you to fall asleep to. Well, thankfully we as the audience get to see some of it. So it's not all tell, don't show. If those dogs didn't like someone for whatever reason, they just shoot any human the dog barks at. You refuse to give the dog some of your food and you come back and it starts barking at you. He's a robot, shoot him! Well, there is one thing that's accurate about this depiction of the future. Now that the Owl House and the Ghost and Molly McGee are both over, this is exactly what Disney Channel looks like. Yes, they knew there had to be a robot because the dogs were barking. What else would a dog bark at?
I was dreaming about dogs.
We use them to spot Terminators.
Your world is pretty terrifying.
I can't believe that however many studio executives heard that exchange and didn't say, "How about you have someone else write your dialogue for you, James?" Most of their so-called chemistry is awkward exposition.
You got a dead cat in there or what?
Fuck you, asshole.
All those dialogue options lead to the same result. What is this, a BioWare game?
Is this enough?
Yeah, it's enough. I don't want to ask where you got it.
I want to ask where he got it. Did you knock over a few old ladies? I wouldn't put it past you after everything you've done.
Keep this.
That's not gonna do anything. You need at least a shotgun to even move him. The most that'll do is give away your position.
Okay, here's the number.
You ready?
Yes, go ahead.
It's 408.
I don't know what's dumber, the fact that she told the person that she thought was her mother her exact location when she doesn't want her mother to be near her, or the fact that the Terminator went to her mother's house in the exact hour that she tried to call her mother. Such bad writing.
What's for dinner?
Plastique. Nitroglycerin basically.
If I were you, I'd be very worried that that's what's actually for dinner.
Some legend. You must be pretty disappointed.
No,
Why not?
I'm not.
Why not? Of course he's not disappointed. Did you think it would be an interesting dynamic to have him contrast the vision he had for you against the person you really are? Did you think it would add a layer of depth if he had to either be patient for you to grow or accept you the way you are? He's not disappointed because he prefers that you be weak and easier to control. Of course he's not disappointed.
The women in your time, what are they like?
Good fighters.
Not his type. They can fight back too well.
Was there someone special?
No, never.
They were all too good at defending themselves.
So much pain.
So many scars, most of them were probably from the girls defending themselves.
Pain can be controlled.
Just like you, Sarah.
John Connor gave me a picture of you once. It's very old, torn, faded.
But they didn't have the internet, so he couldn't be picky.
I memorized every line, every curve.
It wasn't that good of a picture, man.
I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you.
He's been obsessing over this girl he didn't know because of a picture he had of her. Does this really sound correct? They're telling me that he fell in love with her picture, which wasn't even that flattering of a picture, so hard that he didn't date anyone else, and he traveled back to a time before the war, specifically to be with the girl from that picture. He went back to a time in which he can look forward to the apocalypse rather than enjoying the end of the war, to be with the girl from the picture. He does not care that her personality is not what he was expecting. It's all about that picture.
You're all I ever wanted. You're beautiful.
Thank you. But what else?
You can be controlled.
But what else?
What else?
What else?
What else is there?
Shouldn't have said that.
It really shouldn't have. She just had to reward his insanity, didn't she? I say again, sure, he's technically right about the robots, but he's still crazy. You don't have good chemistry just because you have a nude scene. That's not how this works. I mean, I'm not complaining about a nude scene, I'm just saying that you can't do that as a replacement for good chemistry. It's supposed to be in addition to good chemistry. Because dogs always bark at machines. You bring your car next to a dog, it always barks every time. If you have a toy robot, it will never fail to bark at it. That's totally how dogs work. I don't even like dogs, and I know that's not how dogs work. You know, some people don't really think about how her character development happened off screen. They just like big explosion, and that's fine. And I really don't mean to call people dumb by saying that. When I say I don't like the Terminator, I'm not saying I'm right and everyone else is wrong. I'm just coming at it with different mentalities. And that's fine. Hooray, the hero of this story can still accomplish his mission. Kill the humans before they have a chance to reproduce. Curse these foul, fast humans. They have so many frames per second.
On your feet, soldier! On your feet!
The one time she acts like the mother of the leader of the rebellion.
Run, Sarah.
No.
Run!
Should I be angry at him for yelling at her, or should I be angry at her for justifying his decisions to yell at her? This might seem like a broken sentence, but it feels like this film is sexist against both men and women, because the woman is told that she should shut up and listen to the man no matter how crazy he sounds, and the man is sacrificed so that the inherently more valuable woman can survive. I mean, if this was an isolated incident, I could say it's not a gender thing, it's just the guy is not the one who's pregnant with the hero of the rebellion. But the same writer/director made Titanic, in which the guy drowns and freezes to death so that the inherently more valuable and more worth-saving woman can survive. Speaking of the Titanic, I watched Titanic a while ago, having already known about the scene where Rose lets Jack die, and how that was a very avoidable death, and she gets truckloads of justified hate for letting him die. And I was flabbergasted. I could not believe that the same people who rightfully give Rose truckloads of hate do not also pile upon her additional truckloads of justified hate for the fact that she was on lifeboats and she jumped back onto the Titanic. If she hadn't done that, then Jack wouldn't have needed to take care of her, and he could have taken that one piece of board that apparently can only fit one person for himself. Rose is a terrible person, and it should have been her to die instead, and I'm not saying that because she's a woman. Good riddance, he was not worth saving, and I'm not saying that because he's a man. There's still time, you can do it. This universe's version of humanity doesn't deserve to live. She's getting away, hurry, hurry. Now get out of there, it's a trap, back up.
You're a terminated fucker.
No! There will be others to finish what you started, my friend. Rest in peace. That dinky little pistol's not gonna do anything against a Terminator, you idiot! You need something with stopping power. We've established this multiple times.
Should I tell you about your father?
You don't want to know, man. You don't want to know.
If you don't send Kyle, you could never be. A person could go crazy thinking about this.
Well, sure, just not for the reasons you're thinking.
In a few hours that we had together, we loved a lifetime's worth.
Don't. Roll clips of them loving each other a lifetime's worth.
Is Reese crazy?
Do exactly what I say. Don't move unless I say. Don't make a sound unless I say. Do you understand?
Please, don't hurt me.
Don't do that again.
Just let me go.
Listen!
What's for dinner?
Nitroglycerin.
Get your hand down!
The dog starts barking at the kid. He's a machine, kill him! A picture worth 1,000 stalkers. There are valid reasons why other people like the Terminator films, such as the practical effects and the scenes in the future. But for me personally, the one word that best describes this film is irresponsible. This is a film where a maniac uses a crazy story about future robots to get his kidnapped victim to be completely submissive and reliant on him, and the film portrays that as a good thing. The point might have been to warn people of the dangers of robots destroying humanity, but if they wanted to send that message, they should have had it be voiced by someone who's not a maniac. I think that Sarah and Kyle's relationship is disgusting, and I have nothing nice to say about it. And even discarding the messaging, let's take a look at their chemistry.
I was dreaming about dogs.
We use them to spot Terminators.
Your world is pretty terrifying.
It's horrible. Let's take a look at his reasons for loving her.
John Connor gave me a picture of you once.
It's horrible. There was missed opportunities for him to come to grips with the real Sarah Connor in contrast to the Sarah Connor he had in his mind. Or they could have realized that Kyle was a father and have Sarah wonder if she actually loves him. or if she's just sleeping with him for the rebellion. In case you're wondering, yes, I have seen Terminator 2, and no, I didn't like that one either. But it could be funny for me to do a video about Terminator 2 like this one. Let me know if you want me to do that. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and not hate me for not liking the Terminator.